Morning everyone, I'm Richard Parr and you are watching Sportuccino. What a bad morning it must be for you if you are an Arsenal fan. 5-1 defeat to Bayern Munich. Absolutely gutting, and some people would say humiliating defeat at the Allianz Arena. And we want to get your thoughts on that this morning. Let us know what you made of Arsenal's performance in Munich. What does the future hold for Arsene Wenger? Let us know your thoughts on that. Should he leave at the end of the season? Should he leave before then? It is looking like it'll be a 7th season in a row that Arsenal fail to reach the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Is that good enough for you, Gunners? Let me know on the Facebook page, on the YouTube page, and on Periscope, because we are live on all of those platforms this morning on Sportuccino. So much to cover, but let's begin the day with our morning sports headlines. Arsenal are thrashed 5-1 by Bayern Munich in the first leg of their Champions League last 16 tie. Real Madrid come from behind to beat Napoli 3-1 in their first leg match. Scotland captain Greg Laidlaw will miss the rest of the Six Nations with an ankle injury. And Russell Westbrook gets his 27th triple-double of the season in Oklahoma's 116-105 win over the New York Knicks. So just before we move on to everything in the world of sport, I want to tell you about Fiverr. And Fiverr is a company that we use to help launch Sportuccino. And we did it to commission graphic design and video projects, and we still use it today. And you can get lots of different things from talented freelancers around the world from a really good price. And it can include anything from writing to animation to digital marketing and to advertising. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link to Fiverr on the Facebook and on the YouTube page. If you get a chance to click through to it, have a look at their service. It is a service I personally use, so do check it out. And of course, if you do click through that link, you'll also be helping support Sportuccino. I'd really appreciate it if you could do that. All right, let's talk a little bit more about that Arsenal defeat. Yes, it is live. We're getting comments. Is it live on the Facebook page? We are live. We wanted to get your thoughts on should Arsene Wenger be leaving Arsenal at the end of the season. That 5-1 defeat. It was 1-1 at half-time, would you believe? But ultimately, they conceded 4 second-half goals. On the score sheet for Bayern was 2 goals for Thiago Alcantara. He was really good yesterday, playing just behind Lewandowski. Really started to dictate the play there. Arjen Robben was also on the score sheet. He got their goal in the first half, and Lewandowski, of course, he got a goal. Great header. Thomas Müller also came off the bench late on to get Bayern's 5th. Sanchez had got Arsenal's goal in the first half. But it seemed to really change for Arsenal when they had the injury to Laurent Koscielny. Now, I'm personally not a huge fan of Koscielny. I think he's a little bit overrated, but you could really see his importance to that Arsenal side when he went off injured, because they looked a completely different outfit when Gabriel came on. And what did you make of Petr Cech not playing in goal ahead of David Ospina? Ospina made some really good saves, but were Arsenal lacking that presence, that leadership that Petr Cech brings? Let me know your thoughts on that on the Facebook page and on the Periscope page. It'd be really good to get your thoughts on what went wrong for Arsenal yesterday. It wasn't a very good day in Munich. In the other Champions League game, it was Real Madrid 3, Napoli 1. Napoli took an early lead through Insigne, but it was back to business for the reigning champions, Real Madrid. Goals there from Karim Benzema, Toni Kroos and Casemiro. But it looks like Cristiano Ronaldo is now becoming quite an unselfish player. He has now not scored in a Champions League game for 532 minutes. By his standards, that is a very, very long time. But it looks like Real Madrid should be going through, although crucially, Napoli have that away goal. Did you watch that game? What did you make of it? Get involved on our Facebook page. And of course, we're always busy on Twitter. And every single morning we put a brand new poll related to sports. So let's have a look at what's on the poll today. And we're wanting you to tell us well, this is from yesterday. Let's have the result of yesterday's poll. It was, what will the result be tonight between Bayern Munich and Arsenal in the Champions League? Now, 38% of you thought Bayern would win, 25% of you thought Arsenal would win, and 37% of you thought it would be a draw. Now, at half-time, you're onto a winner with that draw, but it is the 38% of you who were correct that Bayern Munich would win. And that does move us to today's poll, and it is, should Arsene Wenger leave Arsenal at the end of the season? A simple yes or no. It's been about 20 years, hasn't it, since he joined them, but they haven't won very many major titles in the last 10 years. I know they got an FA Cup recently, but is that enough for Arsenal? They have this financial stability, they have this amazing stadium, but is that enough for Arsenal? All right, so we're going to be moving on now, and every single morning on our Snapchat page, we like to set a goal of the day, and let's have a look at today's goal. Now, the thing with goal of the day is it's not always very glamorous, it's not always something very exciting you get to do. And I think we can all agree that today's goal is not exciting for me whatsoever, but crucially very important. Having had that amazing time in Cape Town 10 days ago, it's actually time to do the expenses. But it is important, so it does need to be done. So that is my goal of the day. It's time for you to set yours. Welcome back to Sportuccino. We are live this Thursday, the 16th of February. So glad to have you with us on the programme. What do you think? Is it time for Arsene Wenger to leave Arsenal after that humiliating 5-1 defeat to Bayern? Well, let's move on now. And a new survey says that 3/4 of adults in the UK are failing to meet the government's guidelines on moderate exercise. Now, this survey was commissioned by the National Charity Partnership, which is a 3-year project between Tesco, Diabetes UK and the British Heart Foundation. And they found that while adults should be exercising 150 hours a week, they're actually only averaging 88 hours. It's a pretty concerning survey, and I'm delighted to say that the Programme Director of the Tesco National Charity Partnership, Jenna Hall, now joins me live on Sportuccino. Good morning to you, Jenna. How are you doing this morning?
Yeah, really well, thank you.
So good to have you on the show. Now, what are some of the alarming concerns about this result from your survey?
So, being physically active is absolutely critical, not only to your short-term kind of immediate health gains, but to the longer-term prevention of conditions such as type 2 diabetes and heart and circulatory disease. But the really good news is that we're not actually aiming for people to do 150 hours a week. It's only 150 minutes a week. So in theory, that should be quite achievable. If you break it down into 10-minute chunks or half an hour sessions, then 150 minutes a week should be really, really achievable. And I think the concern is that we know that 3/4 of people are failing to achieve that, which means their risk of type 2 diabetes increases, their risk of heart and circulatory disease increases. And these are massive concerns for the health of the UK as a whole, because there's already around 4 million people suffering with type 2 diabetes and around 7 million with heart and circulatory disease. So that gives us a huge population who are at increased risk over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years if they continue to be physically inactive.
Now, you're right, it should be pretty easy to get those 150 hours. So what are some of the reasons for this not happening?
So the survey between Tesco, Diabetes UK and the British Heart Foundation said that the main reasons why people don't do it are due to cost. So 1 in 4 people said that it was cost that was prohibitive. With an average gym membership being over £360 a year, you can see why that's a problem. But actually some of the really simple solutions are to go to your local park, get off the bus a few stops early and take a really brisk walk home for an extra 10 or 15 minutes, because that will help boost your amount. It's also around motivation. So worryingly, and this is terrifying, half of the people said that they genuinely didn't have the motivation to do more physical activity. And yet 90% of the survey respondents said that they knew if they were physically active, it would protect their short and long-term health, and particularly their risk of type 2 diabetes and heart disease. So people aren't doing it because it's cost prohibitive, but we've got loads of really quick, simple, cheap and free solutions to help people get more active. And they said it's about motivation, yet they already know that it's about protecting their health. So somewhere we need to find a way of encouraging people to be more physically active through fun, sociable, family-friendly activities that just gets them out and about without thinking that they've got to do sport or exercise.
And your partnership are offering some of these activities for free, aren't you?
Absolutely. So we've got activities happening right across the UK as part of the National Charity Partnership's Let's Do This initiative. So if you pop online to Let's Do This, then that will really help people to find out what's going on in their local area, the events that we're doing, but also some of our partners are doing across the UK. And then on there, you'll also find loads of recipes, hints, tips, and helpful suggestions as to how to get active, either on your own, with your friends, or with your family. Because we know that people have busy weeks, they have a busy schedule. So how can we build physical activity in really small chunks every day to ensure that more people are more active more of the time?
Yeah, and of course there is this huge interest in people learning more online for what they can do to do with fitness, because you've got an app as well, haven't you?
Absolutely. We've got our Goal Setter app, which is there to really help people to take those small steps into setting a goal and then helping them to deliver it. So it will send you a text message and a reminder that says, you said you were going to go out for a 10-minute walk today. Have you been? And I think having that opportunity to set personalized health-related goals online is absolutely about helping people to take that next step in a way that's supportive and very much kind of peers talking to one another about how they can set a health-related goal and make a difference, not only to how they feel today and tomorrow, but how actually they're going to protect their long-term health in the future as well. So to head onto our website, which is let's-dothis.org.uk, and there's loads of information on there, and we're always active on Twitter and Facebook as well. So I'm sure your audience will be really keen to get onto @ComeOnLDT. So
yeah, I'll go and download it myself after the show. That sounds almost as direct as my watch when it says move. It tells me to move my butt and get active. Pretty direct there, so I like that. So there's this three-year partnership between Diabetes UK, the British Heart Foundation, and Tesco. What is the overall goal of this partnership?
So the partnerships come together to quite simply work together to change the health of the nation. And we've got a particular focus on preventing type 2 diabetes and heart disease. And that's because they are two of the biggest health concerns for the UK. So the ways in which we're doing it are by helping people to become more physically active more of the time through our website, through our Goal Setter, through the local programmes of events and activities. But we've also got a range of other work that we're doing with Tesco in store as well. So we're very supportive of the work they're doing on reformulation and their free fruit initiative for children and young people. And it really is about supporting everybody across the UK to make those small changes to become healthier, both for today and tomorrow, but the long term as well.
Well, fantastic. It's been really good to hear from you this morning, Jenna, and it's a really important thing that we need to think about. So just one more time before you go, let us know how we can find all of this information online once more, and all of the social media channels as well, please.
Okay, so on Twitter, our handle is @ComeOnLDT. On Facebook, if you search for Let's Do This, we'll pop up in the top of the search rankings. And if you're heading online, head to let's-dothis.org.uk.
Wonderful. Jenna Hall, the National Charity Partnership Programme Director, thank you so much for being on Sportuccino this morning.
Thanks very much.
Really good to hear from Jenna this morning on Sportuccino, something really important to think about. And of course, every single morning we have a different guest on the show related to sports, health and fitness, because that's what we are. We're a show about sports, health and fitness. And yesterday I was speaking to Eliza Flynn from Healthy Living London. And we had lots of fun on yesterday's show. If you've looked at our Twitter page, you'll see a few of the different clips of us being a little bit silly. And we played the game 5 Favourite Things. And Eliza made a debut on the show. She became the first person ever to sing her favourite song. And actually, we haven't worked out what it is yet. We know it's a Disney song. If you know what it is, take a look at this and maybe you can help answer the question.
Previously on Sportuccino.
I don't know what it's called, so I'm going to try singing. So I really apologise to anyone who is listening to my terrible voice. But the one that goes, look at the stuff, isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Wouldn't you think I'm the girl who had everything?
Little bit of an impromptu sing-along there. Well, the Arsenal fans weren't singing along yesterday in Munich because their team got hammered 5-1. Arsenal fans, what did you make of that performance? If you went to the game, if you travelled all the way to Munich, just how disappointing was it? And there's more European trips for teams across Europe today because it is the UEFA Europa League. The knockout stages have begun. Some of the big games tonight include Mönchengladbach of Germany taking on the Italian side Fiorentina. You've got Villarreal versus Roma. That could be a really good game. And then the two English teams involved, it's Spurs. They're away at Ghent. No Jan Vertonghen, no Danny Rose, and no Eric Lamela. And Spurs, you know what though? They've never won in Belgium before. Could this change with this away trip to Ghent? Will Pochettino put out a second string team or will he take this tournament seriously? We'll have to wait and see. Of course, the home leg will be back at Wembley Stadium because they were in the Champions League and they did have Wembley Stadium lined up for that, but they were unable to get through. That's why they're in the Europa League. Manchester United, they were already in the Europa League, but there's no Wayne Rooney, no Michael Carrick and no Phil Jones for their home game against San Etienne. United on this incredible run in the Premier League, yet they're still 6th. We'll see what changes Jose Mourinho makes to this Manchester United team for this tie against San Etienne. What are your predictions? Let us know on the Facebook page. Let us know on Periscope. Who do you think is going to win? Will United beat San Etienne? And can Spurs get a result at Ghent? Now, of course, a lot of you will be travelling to these games. Spurs fans will be going to Ghent. Arsenal fans will have gone to Munich yesterday, and it's really important to know all these different tips when you start to travel, and that's what we love to do on Sportuccino every single day. We like to give you a brand new travel tip which you can use not only for your football away trips but for any other trip. So let's have a look at today's travel tip. Now this one is something which I end up doing with Sportuccino every single day, and that is to get up early one morning. Alright, I know you're on holiday, I know you want lie-ins, I know you want a few beers the night before, but it's often really good to spend one morning getting up really early when you're on holiday because you get to see the city or the location in a completely different way. It could be the sunrise, it could just be the peacefulness before everyone starts their morning rush to work. I know I got up really early one time in Sydney and it was lovely just to kind of see the calm before the storm, before the commuters coming in. And especially if it's a beautiful sunny morning, you know, get up early, have a little wander, grab a coffee. I've done it in Spain and Madrid before. Really make the most out of the city. Now, I'm not saying do it every single morning. And some of you, you know, you might have a really late night and then see it early in the next morning, but that doesn't really count. Get up early one morning, enjoy the city, wake up, try the breakfast, do everything like that. So that is my travel tip. Get up early, just one morning on your holiday. So that's nearly it for another Sportuccino. So Arsenal fans, you're pretty upset this morning after that 5-1 defeat to Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich fans, what are your thoughts? Are you going to go on and win this tournament? Of course, you've got Carlo Ancelotti as your manager. He's extremely successful in this competition, winning it with Real Madrid, winning it with AC Milan, been successful wherever he's gone with Paris Saint-Germain, with Chelsea, one of the best managers in the world. Some people we're saying that Bayern aren't quite as good under Ancelotti as they were under Guardiola, but ultimately he's got one task, and that is to win the Champions League. So if he brings that home, for me, in my world, he's automatically more successful. Because remember, Guardiola took over a Bayern Munich side which had won the treble, and he failed to ever win the Champions League. And in fact, some might say he's being found out at Manchester City. Now, I'm not saying he is, but that's just one thing to think about there. And of course, Real Madrid 3-1 winners over Napoli. All right, we've nearly reached the end of today's Sportuccino. Let's have a quick reminder of today's sports headlines. Arsenal are thrashed 5-1 by Bayern Munich in the first leg of their Champions League last 16 tie. Real Madrid come from behind to beat Napoli 3-1 in their first leg match. Scotland captain Greg Laidlaw will miss the rest of the Six Nations with an ankle injury. And Russell Westbrook gets his 27th triple-double of the season in Oklahoma's 116-105 win over the New York Knicks. So that's it for today's Sportuccino. On tomorrow's show, on Friday, we're going to be looking ahead to another huge weekend of sport. In particular, we're going to take a focus on the Spanish League. I'm delighted to say that the Spanish football commentator Paul Giblin will join us live on Sportuccino from Madrid. We'll react to Barcelona's huge defeat in the Champions League and Real Madrid's 3-1 win over Napoli with Paul. We'll also look ahead to their matches this weekend in La Liga. And if you've got any questions for anything related to Spanish football, let us know on the Facebook page. Let us know on Twitter. We will ask Paul for you. We'll be live from 8 a.m. GMT. If you haven't liked the Facebook page already, please go and do that. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel and to us on iTunes, because we're also an audio podcast where you can rate and review our show. I'd really appreciate that. Well, I've been Richard Parr. You've been watching Sportuccino, and I'll be back with you tomorrow morning from 8 a.m.